Maybe you already tried it, some of you. I can see now the snow is coming very fast, so your season is too short. I think you all know that to make something so realistic can be a big benefit when the water is clear and you're fishing for pressurized fish, and you have a lot of your waters here where they have seen all sorts of plastic, but a real roach they will always go for. The roach is something that everybody can fish with. You don't need to be a specialist, but if you're a specialist, you can really do some amazing tricks with it. Just steady retrieve. As soon as you make that spin stop, you will see that he shoots out to the side. And my personal view on pike fishing is the release system. So the line through system, that the hook is so well masked, so well camouflaged on the bait, but as soon as they hit it, the soft lure is away from the pike. Two reasons for that. One reason is that you don't destroy your soft lure as fast, but the real truth is that the pike cannot use the weight of the lure to throw the hook. I think we all tried that with a corkscrew rig. You can't really set the hook as effective as you can with the line through system, and once the fish is hooked, the bait is off the line. So the 3D roach is something that I think can change your fishing in the spring when you start your season again. I think all of you kind of like the bigger baits as well, the bigger profile baits. And this one has a nice weight for casting. And you can see here that the big size does exactly what the small size does, just more exaggerated. So you can really imitate a real fish just like that. And this is very easy to load. If you buy our lead loading wire or the spikes, if you get in tungsten or lead, you can actually add a little bit of weight to the bait so you can change your sink rate. Very, very simple on these bait. As you can see, they have a mesh that runs straight through them. It is a soft lure. That means you can destroy this on one fish or you can catch 50 on it. My advice for all the soft lures, especially the more expensive ones like the line through trout and the roach, is to use the glue. Have you heard about the fix-it? Okay, so the glue, you can use a little bit of that and you can mend them, you can repair your lure. So some of my trout I've caught maybe 200 fish on, and they still work perfectly because I take the time to repair them. A lot of people, they just, it's got a scratch, so what? But I actually repair it every time, because if you get 10 cuts all of a sudden, number 11 and that bait is gone. So today we have a special here for the 3D roach. So if you haven't already tried this one, if you look at our Facebook profile and if you look at what is going on in Europe right now, where we don't have ice and snow, you will see how many gigantic fish are just being caught right now. Alone last week, 2 fish over 20 kilos was caught on the roach. The biggest one, 133 centimeters and 23 kilos on the roach. So that's an amazing fish. Then I know that a lot of you guys have followed what happens on Facebook and YouTube, and I know that some people already from Finland are writing me a lot about this baby here. So we don't have it yet, but we will get this for your spring season, so this will be ready. The reason why I wanted to do a rat, and I can be totally honest and truthful with you, is that you can see that everybody right now is running towards the predator market. So when we came 10 years ago, we were still very dominating, but now you can buy shads from every company. So instead of making another paddle-tail shad or another loose body eel, I thought, let's go think out of the box. Let's do something that is really, truly unique, like a real 3D scan of a rat. In many countries in Europe, you have a lot of water rats. In the canals, in the small lakes, in the small rivers, a lot of rats. I don't know if you have a lot of rats in Finland, but I'm quite sure if you throw this that it will get eaten. So the idea was to make a bait that just looks like a real rat in the water and actually swims like a real rat. And you can see it has, if you listen carefully, you can hear the clicking sound. So it makes this seductive clicking sound from side to side. And now I've attached it here as you can see, I've attached it in the bill. So the water pressure actually forces it up. So when it's in the bill, he will make that wake. You cannot pull him down. So fishing at night or fishing at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, we fish this as a wake bait. So you actually have that on the surface. And it's so effective during the summer and during the night fishing. I think here in Finland you have a lot of light, short nights and not totally black. How many of you guys have tried to fish during the night? The big fish during the night with wake baits is just amazing fun. So the same bait actually you can use during the normal fishing, and I think that's where a lot of you guys are more confident. To fish on the surface, of course, you will not get the same amount of strikes, but when you catch a big fish on the surface, it's more fun than catching 10 on normal spinning. You will find out. So the same bait, if I attach that to the nose here, he will actually dive. So now you can see the same bait will go down, and he will dive down to 2 feet. So that's perfect to fish along the reed line. And when you make a spin stop, he will come up and he will just sit there. You will be amazed. The first time you try to spinning with this and you stand there and you see the rat slowly coming up to the surface, and then it's gone. So that's a whole new concept for your fishing. You can throw a shad or a reel eel all day long and have great fun, but there's one thing that will not beat that, and that's to catch a giant pike on a rat like this. It's so much fun. That brings us to the next little puppy here, which again, I wanted to change the way that we think about topwater fishing. I think you all know that in America topwater fishing is huge. Muskie, bass, the way that they fish, their perception is a lot of frogs, a lot of creature bait on the surface. And when I was a kid, the most exciting thing that could happen for me was when I see a duckling disappear. You know, it's like a legend when you see that. And to make a 3D scan of a real duck is of course, that should be the brilliance of it. And this is so simple. It's a buzz bait that just on a retrieve makes that sound, but you can hear that sound. And the pike can hear that sound. And what it is, it's a little duckling in panic. Have you guys ever seen a duckling disappear? So what happens is the pike follow the mother and all the 7 ducklings are right behind. All of a sudden one of them gets a little too far away and it panics. And exactly that profile and the way that swims, it just drives them crazy. My favorite way to fish this, it's actually quite beefy, it's heavy, so you can throw this a long way. So almost 80 grams, you can fish huge area, all the shallow bays where a lot of the pikes are sitting, maybe in 1 or 2 foot of water in between the weeds. You can fish this. Open lily pads where it's so difficult to use wobblers or jerk baits because you get maybe 10 foot and then you're stuck. This one, an open lily pads, oh my god. How many of you guys watched the video on this? Have you seen the video that runs? Have you seen how they hit it? Can you think of another video that have impacted your brain more the last 10 years than seeing that video? To be honest. Even for me, the first time I went fishing with this, I was so shocked, I couldn't believe it. Because it actually works. So one thing is the theory, another thing is to see how it actually works in real life. You fish in a water that you fished for 10 years, all of a sudden you catch 10 pike, some of them you didn't even know were there. So, of course the competitors could say, it's just a marketing stunt, it will go away, like the line-through trout and the 4-plate, but it doesn't, because you go try this and you'll see. I can definitely recommend to try the duck if you want an adrenaline rush. And the best time to fish this, you can imagine when that is in the early spring and when you see the small chickens actually come out. Okay? Any questions?
Looks nice.
One little advice, if you guys are serious about the duck, I would almost say that it's a good idea to make a pre-order with your shop, because these are going to run out as soon as they get into the shops, and as you know, it's a relatively short season, the spring season, so that might be a good idea to sign up for these ducks. One little trick that I can give you is the next shipment of ducks that will come into our warehouse, they have a little stinger inside. You see how I try to camouflage the hooks? So the hooks are actually part of the lure, because I don't like a lot of swinging hooks. But that means you need to be quite skilled to hook the fish. What a pike will very often do is come up and try to engulf the whole thing. And what you as an angler do when you see that big splash is that you set the hook and you lose the fish. So when you see that big pike or even a small pike, when you see it follow that bait, try to avoid to set the hook before you actually see the line pull away. My biggest mistake was the first 3 times I went fishing with this. You see the gigantic splash and immediately you go like that and you just rip everything out. So just wait for him to take the whole thing. You see your braid line, tighten up, and you have it. So the next little trick is the stinger. I found out that a lot of the short bites, if I put the little stainless stinger, so the treble hook actually runs out here, gives you a far better hook-up rate, especially on the smaller fish. So that's just a little trick for you. You can also put the stinger on the belly, so your treble hook is down here. It's constructed so it doesn't affect the spinning feet. Then you can see here, when you're fishing in lily pads, during the spring, what happens is that the lily pads become so close that I remove the hook from the belly, and I have one hook here and then the second one on the stinger here. And then I actually attach my line to the chest instead of the beak, because this way I can actually fish it through the lily pads without getting snagged. So that opens a totally new opportunity for you fishing it that way. All right. Anybody tried this bait? You have? Okay. So this bait is one of the easiest lures to use. But again, if you're specialized, you can really make some amazing things with it. Just on the steady retrieve, you will see he will slide from side to side. But when you learn to use this bait by irregular retrieve speed, you can really wake up some fish that don't want to bite. So for the shine glider, I always have that with me, combined with the soft lures. 2 or 3 casts with this sound and this movement in the water, and the lethargic fish, oh my God, all of a sudden they're aware.